Outpouring's Love for Real.
Yes.
Tonight's is episode 3, and I would like to take the time now to introduce you to myself and the panel. I am Michelle Burton, tonight's moderator and one of the leaders on the pastoral leadership team here at the Outpouring. Our panelists are also leaders on the pastoral leadership team, and they are from left to right: Kenneth and Virginia Webster, Wendell and Sandy Stovall, my husband Edmund, and myself. All right. Just a quick announcements about questions and answers. You're welcome to ask questions, so please feel free to raise your hand and ask away. Remember, no question is a dumb question. We promise to answer your question to the very best of our ability and based on the knowledge and information provided during this episode today. So far, we have had 11 questions submitted. We've covered questions 1 through 4, episodes 1 and 2. So tonight, we will be beginning with a new question. It is question number 5, and it reads, how can I be more accommodating to my spouse without being a doormat? Now I'm going to have to tie that to question number 11 because they mirror each other. Question 11 says, need clarification on where to draw the line on being a doormat and being submissive. If the husband doesn't agree with you, he may think you're not being submissive and you feel as if you're being a doormat. How do you draw the line? Panelists?
Who we start?
We're going to start with, let's start right to left this time. So, Pastor Burton.
Okay, all right. How to accommodate my spouse without being a doormat? First of all, as far as being a doormat, I guess you really have to find out exactly how you deem yourself as being a doormat, because what's going on with you as far as thinking that you're a doormat. A lot of times, again, the submissive thin line is real fine, because to the outside it looks like you're being a doormat, but you're actually being submissive. But then again, when we go back to the Bible, it's actually supposed to be submissive one to another. So there should be a mutual submission to each other. Okay, so if that's not taking place, I can see you seeing as far as that I'm being a doormat because I'm submitted to him, but he never submitted to me. Because that's actually what he's supposed to do. And actually, he's supposed to be submitted first and foremost to God. And you'll see that it's really hard for you to kind of get the gist of that. And where do you draw the line? As far as drawing the line, I guess you have to draw a line in the sand as far as letting them know, and it's comes back to communication. Being actually open and honest and let the person know that there's some things you're doing that I don't like. Okay, there's some things that you expect me to do that I don't see as being done in you. So why should you expect something out of me that I can't expect out of you? Because it's a mutual thing. All right, we're in this thing together. All right, and again, I actually need to see your submission to God so I can be submitted to you, because that's really the way, the chain of command. If he's submitted to God, then it should be easy to submit to you, because first and foremost, he's submitted to God, and God will make sure that he's not going to abuse him, so he shouldn't be abusing you. So I don't know, I can't really address that because I don't know exactly how you deem yourself as being a doormat. So I need a little bit more insight on that, though. But I mean, it can be deemed as that way, but it just depends on how the aspects turn around, though. Okay.
Before I answer the question, I would like to pose a question to you all. What would you think being a doormat means as being the spouse? What do you think the doormat is?
Always doing everything. Like they expect you to do everything, and you're the one taking the brunt of it all. And when you ask them to do something, it's an issue. I get just pretty much letting them walk all over you. But you go do this, you go do that, you go do that, and you're just taking it. Even if you have something to do, you're always giving up you.
So how can I be more accommodating to my spouse without being a doormat? I think that it really depends on how you view, like Pastor Edmund said, how you view being a doormat. Where do you draw the line? You know, how much do you put into, how much do you give in your household, in your marriage to your spouse, and how is it reciprocated, if you will, you know. It does go both ways. You shouldn't allow, no one, man or woman, should not allow each other to walk all over each other, because there's a mutual respect that should be there that won't allow that. So when it gets to the point where you feel like you're not being respected, or you feel like he's walking all over me, then there needs to be some communication happening at that point, because you know, it can turn into something really bad if it continues. So I think that, first of all, you know, you define what does it mean being a doormat. You know, what I may do for my husband, you know, you may think that that's too much. So it's individualized, and what he may do for me, someone else may think that's too much, but we're okay with it. So I don't feel like I'm being a doormat. Whereas in your household, you may feel like, well, I've done enough, and now I feel like I'm being walked all over. So it really depends on you as an individual, as a wife, and as a husband.
I don't know. I just kind of have, I guess, issues with the whole idea of drawing a line. I don't think that there is a line, right? I think that there are times and seasons when one person feels like they're doing more. Let's say, like when you first have kids, right? When the babies are little, it's kind of a natural season where one spouse feels like they're doing all of the work, and the other spouse is really kind of getting away scot-free, so to speak. But then there's other times and seasons when or in a different situation, the roles are reversed, right? And so I think that it helps if, number one, like Pastor Emma was saying, you have to communicate, you know. And if you're feeling like you're being taken advantage of, or that in the area where you need help, it's not being reciprocated, right? Because I don't think it's ever going to be a situation where it's balanced. I do exactly the same amount of stuff for you that you do for me, right? That's never going to happen. And so I think a lot of times we go into a relationship with that mentality like this ain't even. Well, it's never going to be even.
That's true.
Right? There's always going to be this give and take, and there's always going to be, you know, depending on the situation, or this, like I say, the season of life you're in, where one person feel like they're doing more in this area. But I guarantee you, if you can communicate, right, and talk it out, then that person, like if I go to my wife and go, you know, I do X, Y, and Z for you, you don't, you know, I don't feel like you returning the same effort I'm putting into the relationship. I guarantee you, she can come up with A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H that she does for me, but that she does it so unselfishly and so automatically that I just kind of take it for granted and overlook it. And don't count that as, well, dang, she does do a lot for me. But, you know what I'm saying? So I think it goes both ways, man. I don't think you can ever, I think you really kind of put yourself in a tough situation when you start drawing lines in the sand and giving each other ultimatums. And if this don't change, or I need, you know what I'm saying? You have to communicate and just be willing to understand that, you know, it's give and take.
And let me answer this, because actually when you start the situation where, you know, we comparing whether I'm doing more than you are, then y'all really, it's like, you know, you go, that's a road you'll never get off that road. So, you know, one doing more than the other. And let's face it, as we get older in life, one is going to be doing more than the other. Okay, like one maybe get a little sicker than the other one. So that's when the other one. But that's really about what love is all about. It really is. I mean, you forsaking all others for yourself. Kind of like your wedding vows.
But the hardest thing is you have to be selfless, right? But the selfish part of you says, if I go above and beyond what I feel like is the call of duty for you, then what about me? If I'm selfless and I focus just on your needs, I have to trust that you're gonna do the same and focus on my needs. And that's a hard kind of trust issue you know, a place to get to. I'm not saying you get there automatically just because you got married and you exchange vows. I mean, it's a trust issue, and sometimes it's a day-to-day kind of thing.
Lady V?
So, I'm inclined to go with, piggyback on what Pastor Stovall just said. There is no line, and I think it's your mindset, what mindset you have going into the marriage. I know that most people go into a marriage thinking about all that they're going to get out of it, right? I'm going to have this handsome dude, and he's going to be romantic, and you know, he's going to provide for me and love on me and be there for me and all of that. So we're going in thinking about all that we're going to get and not thinking about all that we're going to do, right, for the person that we're married to. And marriage is 100-100. It's not 50-50, right? And so you have to be willing from the day you say I do to be 100. It's like whatever it takes, whatever he needs me to be, as long as it's not against God's will, whatever it is, that's what I'm going to be, right? And there can't be any limits on it, right? Because there just can't be, because that's when people start saying, well, he ain't doing this and this and this, so it's time to get a divorce. Well, there's never a time to get a divorce, right? Because you stood before God and you made your vows. There's never a time unless he's beating you black and blue and whatever. All of that there, the Jamaican is coming out. But unless he's really beating you, there's you know what I'm saying? Unless your life is in danger or something like that. But other than that, it's an opportunity for you to show God to someone. You are really showing the love of Jesus to the person you're married to. So what conditions is on that? And that's just the way you have to think about it. Because if you don't think about it like that, if we're thinking about it in our humanness, there is a line. And bro, man, you done said too much and did too much. It's time for you to go. Okay? That's in your humanness. But in your godliness, there is no line. You just got to keep on loving and keep on giving and pray to God that your Christian example is going to move that person to see, you know what, my wife, man, she just go over and above for me every day. You know, and God can change his heart that way. Me personally, I don't think there's a line. I don't think there's anything about being a doormat. You do as much as you can do. You give as much as you can give. And when you think you've given too much, give a little bit more.
Well, I think I understand this question. Because you can actually feel this way. It's a real emotion that you feel when you feel as if you're putting out more than your spouse. And you internalize what you think he or she needs to be doing based on your output. Right? And when it doesn't match up, doesn't equate, okay, your scale is tipped in your favor, right? Then you start feeling like a doormat. Then you start thinking like, understand I use the word feeling, okay, because that's the emotion that is causing you to think the way that you're thinking. Am I making sense? Oh, okay. So how do you deal with that? I think that's what the question was. How do you deal with that? Okay, I think you have to realize that it's your responsibility as a spouse to accommodate your spouse. It's your responsibility. Okay? And so it's not a chore, it's your responsibility. Okay, and I think there's a difference. And so when you start looking at it as a chore, then you're going to start measuring it. But when you look at it as this is my responsibility, it's my duty as a husband, and as a wife to meet my spouse's needs, then I don't feel like a doormat because I get to do this. Okay, it's not like I have to do this. is that I get to do this, and because I get to do it, then so you can't just. I think you have to get out of your feelings, okay? And I can say, I used to feel like that, because I'm a busybody. I do a lot of stuff. I'm everywhere, right? But and so you can't allow that feeling to control you, because then what will happen, I believe, you start lashing out at your spouse. You start belittling them because you're doing the most. And I don't think you need to see it from that perspective. I think you need to see it as, this is my responsibility. And wherever there's a shortcoming or whether there's a lack, I need to pick up the slack if I can, because I get to do that. Okay, and so it's not like I'm not. And I think that's how you show that you are submitting. Okay, so to retaliate or to rebel is to not operate at your full potential in your relationship. Okay, so you might be the doer, they might be the less doer than you are. Okay, but for you to back off and try to measure and back to them, that means that you're not putting in everything that you're supposed to bring to the table. So I think the way you overcome it is just get out of your feelings, notice that it's your responsibility to bring 100% of you to the table, whatever that looks like, and that they're to bring 100%. Now, I need to say this also, is that their 100% is their 100%. Okay, so their 100% and your 100% might look completely different. Okay, so don't try to gauge their 100% based on you, especially for husbands. And I always tell husbands this, is that if the Bible says that the woman is the weaker vessel, then you need to be doing the most. Because you can't expect something that came from something to do more than the something that it came from.
That's right.
Okay.
That's good.
That's right. Do you follow? Okay. So you can't expect something that came from something to do more than the something that it came from. Okay. So the husband should do the most. And once I got a real, perspective on what I needed to be doing as a husband, then that feeling went away. It went completely away, because then I understood that this is my house. And if the dishes need to be washed, it's my house. It's my responsibility to take care of my house. You understand? If my kids need something, it's my responsibility. And I'm not being a welcome mat or a doormat to do or to take care of what's mine. I'm just taking care of my responsibility, because if I don't, people gonna look at me real funny. You understand? So I just think that you gotta just knock out those things that I think the enemy tries to give us in our mind to get us to divide, so he can conquer the household.
You could also look at relationships, and not just significant other relationships, but just any relationship, about giving 100%. Because I'm the type of person that I give 100% in any relationship, whatever I'm doing. And so for me, I actually had to learn how to realize or recognize when I was being taken advantage of. But then I also had to get to a point where I was like, well, I feel like if I can do it, if I have the power to do it, and someone needs it, if they are trying to take advantage of me, that's on them, because I'm doing this out of the goodness of my heart, and because I want to do it. Because if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it. So it just hit on me, like, from a single perspective, that outside of what you're supposed to do as a husband and wife, as a single person, or in any relationship, you should be giving 100%. Like you said, it shouldn't be a fine line between what you would do for one person versus what you wouldn't do, because it should be an unconditional type of love. Like Jesus doesn't pick and choose, or God doesn't pick and choose who he does for, you know what I'm saying, for what, based off what they've done for him.
How do you take that in a perspective of not dating, or not husband and wife, but friendship wise? Like, are you supposed to continue to let them use you? Or in that situation, can you walk away once you realize they're not putting as much percentage for you that you put for them?
When it's time to cut off a relationship, because I've kind of been in, you know, friendships like that where, you know, where it's like it was me giving, but I didn't have to do anything or stop what I was doing for that relationship to end. For whatever reason, it ended. So I think God will cut off certain people at a certain point, you know, when it's like, okay, I didn't had enough of them, you know, using my child. It's time to use my child, you know?
I think the thing that you have to think about is that, you know, you're not obligated unless you're committed to something greater than just dating. Okay, and so since there's no commitment, you can let homeboy or home chick go anytime you want to, you know, because, you know, there's no real commitment there. There's no ties there. And so you should never put yourself in the position to be taken advantage of. And just know that I believe that people will only do what you allow them to do to you. And so if you never put yourself in the position to be taken advantage of, people will never take advantage of you, whether you're single or married. So.
You know, there's another whole hard fact is that, believe it or not, you know, you've probably experienced it before, but there are people that are actually leeches. They will actually suck the life out of you. Okay, they'll bring nothing to the table, but then at some point, you already know that this is not going anywhere. Whatever type of relationship it is, bottom line is that, you know, you go in a business relationship and the person always looking for you to bring your part, but they don't bring nothing to the table. I mean, at some point, you know, you need to cut your losses. Okay, that's just common sense. That really is. You know, because a person never brings nothing to the table, nothing at all. I mean, you know, even her sit at least a dime. Okay, you ain't brought that. Don't let me. Let's face it. You know, because there are genuine leeches out there that actually just basically just suck you dry. So you have to kind of have some wisdom on that as far as that person is concerned. So going back to the question though, because I like the scenario where the person said that this person was married to this man, the lady was married to this man, and he had a list of rules for her to do, and she just detested it every time. She had a list of rules. So the man actually up jumped and died. She got married, remarried again, and while she got married to this man, she loved him, all that. She ideal man. So while she was cleaning out the stuff, she went through and caught this list of rules that her ex-husband did and gave her. And she started looking at the list. And she saw everything she was doing, the list that her first husband wanted to do, she was doing it, but she was doing it out of love. It was a burden to her because he was forcing her to do it. But now, because she loved him, it was automatic. So I guess it all depends on how much you love this person. That's how much you would really want to do for this person. Because if you really love, I mean, going back to how God loved us, he loved us enough to die for us. So I mean, that's the extent. Because he would have felt like a doormat to us. You know, y'all not loving me back, so I feel like a doormat. So that's the way it is. Mm-hmm.
Are there any more comments from the assembly? So are we ready for the next question? The next question is, why is it that I don't feel loved by my spouse? Why is it that I don't feel loved by my spouse? And this time we're going to begin with the Stovall's. Wendell?
Oh, y'all gonna make me answer for this?
Yes, sir.
Maybe they don't love themselves. That's recognizing the spouse loves them. If you don't love yourself, you can't feel somebody else loving you.
Yeah. Why is it that I don't feel loved? I don't think. I mean, to me, the first thing I would examine if I don't feel like I'm being loved by my spouse, then yeah, let me examine the relationship, of course. But at the same time, like maybe we just speak in two different languages, right? Because if my wife says she don't feel like she's loved, if she brought that to me as a man, right, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go down a whole list of things that I do. You go, what do you mean I don't love you? I do this for you, I do this for you, I go to the store, right? Anything you ask me to do it. I mean, I put them dresses together for you, it only took me like 2 years. Right? What you mean I don't love you? Right? And so what the man is going to do is start showing all the things that he do, because that's how he expresses love. But you're not receiving it that way because that ain't your language. Like you want romance and candles and dates and I want to fix something for you. Not me personally. I'm just saying. Most guys. Like I'll buy you something. But you see what I'm saying? So it can be one of those situations where you just speak in two different languages.
I watched this show and it did make sense, just how you were saying. It was a husband and wife, and the husband was saying how he had to learn the language of his wife's love to make it better, because he was like, the way I could only love her the way I knew what I like to be loved. He was like, my love would be her just smiling at me, her saying, baby, I love you. Her love is I come home with a new bag, or I go get her nails done, or I rub her feet. So maybe it's just you haven't expressed to the person on how you want to be loved and what makes you feel like that they love you. Maybe they're reciprocating the love as far as how they want to be loved. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, like you said, baby, I fixed that door. You said you was complaining about that door the whole time. I got it fixed. So that's I love you. But her thing is, you should have did that anyway.
I think too, in a relationship, you get with somebody and you automatically think that they should know. Mm-hmm. But nobody wants to take the time to teach each other. Yeah. Right? So wives, sometimes you might just have to take the brother by the hand and be like, look, I like this. Right? And the same thing with the husband. Like, you can't just assume, right, that she automatically know.
When we first got married, we were kind of struggling with it. I was already emotional because I was pregnant. I was crazy. And I think when we had to learn how to express our love to each other, because like you said, we were speaking two different languages. He was thinking, if I make sure the bills are paid and I make sure the car have gas in it, then that's fine. But I had to tell him, you're not only a provider. That's not just your role as a husband. You're also here to cater to my needs. And then I had to understand that this is a working man. He's not just gonna be in here rose petals laying down and candles all out. That, like, just going through counseling, we had to come to that kind of understanding, because it takes a level of maturity to understand, okay, I know he loves me because he come home every night. He's paying these bills. I don't have to worry about this. I don't have to worry about that. And that the man have to understand that I know my wife loves me because she can love me even when I'm having a hard day.
When you make that comment, cater to my needs, right? You got to teach him that that's not just sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when he hear cater to your needs, he's like, oh, okay. What you need? Right? You got to teach him. You got to be able to take the time to teach him what cater to my need means.
Exactly.
And what that looks like.
You have to teach that person how to love you, or what you're expecting, or what your definition of show me that you love me.
Sometimes you have to ask yourself, what kind of spouse am I? Am I lovable? What's my attitude like? Do I come off with a bad disposition? Am I nasty? Am I always demanding and demanding and demanding and demanding? What kind of spouse am I? And so once you figure that out, maybe you can see what he sees. Sometimes we're so quick to be so judgmental of that person. You don't do this and you don't do this and you don't do this. But they're looking at, you're so selfish.
Yeah, you're right.
You're not doing anything. You expect me to be the one. I'm tired. When are you catering to me? When are you doing anything? And so they feel, so what you don't feel as love to receiving love from them, they don't feel like they're not getting it from you either. So let's go to that communication thing. Maybe first ask yourself, what kind of spouse am I being? How am I setting the example of a godly person in this marriage? And once you do that, then you can answer some of those questions yourself. And once you start checking yourself and checking things off of your negative list, then he probably say, wow, she sure changed that. Wow, that don't happen no more. Wow, she does let me get through the door before she start demanding stuff. Wow, she does ask me what I want to eat as opposed to telling me all this and all of that. So sometimes it's not them, sometimes it's us. So that's what we have to first figure out is what are we doing wrong first? And then go to them. Check yourself first. And we don't want to do that mirror image first. We want to just automatically lash out. And this is something I learned from my first marriage because that's how I felt. Then I said, heifer, who gonna love you? Do you realize how mean you are? What's your nasty? They can tell you. So it's a learning curve. It's something you have to grow from. And what I appreciate about this, I know I missed last week, what I appreciate about this is he came right with those the 4 loves. That agape love is that true stuff. You have to realize when you talk about this agape love, it's that unconditional dying love that God has for us. And that's how we have to equate how we love other people. And if you're not loving him that way, then maybe start giving that first before you feel like he just don't love you. Because it might just be the type of person you are that he don't love. And so he don't know how to show love because you just nasty. Not to say anybody's that way. That's just, that's just one of the things you have to check first is do a self-evaluation first. And then if you see some things wrong in you or say, would I want to be married to me? Would I want to be my spouse? Would I want to come home to me every day? And if you say no, then what makes you think he does? Or what makes you think she does?
I'm going to piggyback on Tasha as well because you have to check yourself. When you ask the question, why is it I don't feel loved by my spouse? What's going on with you? You do have to look at yourself and figure out what's going on with you, what's going on with you emotionally, and a lot of times when we feel like we don't feel love, there's a deep-rooted issue. It's not even about, my husband or something. It's deeper than that. So we have to do a self-evaluation and figure out what is it? And then once we figure that out, then we can reevaluate our marriage and we can go to our spouse, and it goes back again to communication. We have to go and we have to say, look, baby, I'm not feeling like, I'm getting any attention from you, or I'm not getting enough attention from you. But that's after I've examined myself and said, okay, I know that I've been doing this, and this. I haven't been doing this, I haven't been doing that, because he's playing off of me. There was a time in our marriage where I felt like I wasn't getting enough attention. And when I felt that way, in the beginning, I started getting angry, and when I got angry, I started thinking of different ways that I could retaliate. And so I was like, this is not good. I can't be this way. I never brought it out. I never acted on it, but on the inside, all of these emotions running wild because I feel like I'm not getting the attention that I wanted, that I desired. So I'm going to act out. And in my mind, look, well, if he ain't going to give me the attention that I want, I'm going to go get it from somewhere else, knowing that those thoughts are not right. That's not how it's supposed to be. It shouldn't be that way. So then I had to come to my senses, after praying and say, look, let me just talk to him. Let me see what's going on. Let me examine myself first, make sure that I'm doing what I should be doing and acting the way I should be acting and, taking care of my business, and then go to him. And I went to him and I said, look, I feel like, you're neglecting me. I feel like I'm not getting enough of this, and this. And I just laid it all out for him. And we sat and we talked about that. And then he expressed himself, well, I feel like you're not doing this, and this. And so when it all came out on the surface, after communicating with one another, we both kind of felt the same way. So because I felt that way, he was responding to my actions and I was responding to his actions, but we didn't know that. All we knew is what we felt on the inside. And had we never had that conversation, about, why I feel like you don't love me or why I feel like you're not showing me enough attention. I never felt like he didn't love me. I always knew that he loved me. But the attention, then communicating about it and talking about it brought it all out, and we were able to resolve that through communication. And it really does help. So if you feel like you don't feel loved, by your spouse, then you really, really first pray about it, examine yourself, and then communicate with your spouse about what you're feeling. Because if you hold it in and it's bottled in, the outcome is not going to be good at all, ever.
Lady V? Pastor Ken?
I think that one of the first things, though, that when it comes to feeling loved by your spouse, and I think somebody said it earlier, is that you first gotta feel loved. You gotta love yourself. You gotta love yourself, and because you're gonna have that. Those are feelings and emotions that's gonna come and they're gonna go throughout your relationship, because the seasons in your relationship are going to change, and the needs in the relationship are going to change. Okay, so what I needed 20 years ago, I don't need that no more. Okay, I grew out of that stuff, and so today I need something different. Okay, so somebody said, we have to stay communicable so that I can voice what I need today, because when it changes, she needs to know. And so as long as you're aware of you and the changes that are going on in you, and you can communicate that to your spouse, then I think you'll overcome that feeling where you're not feeling loved. Okay, so just pay attention to yourself, the changes that happen in your life. Guys go through them, women go through them, and sometimes it's just you. Really, sometimes it's just you tripping with you. Oh, okay, it's just you. I mean, sometimes it's just how we look at things at the moment. You understand it? And your mind just goes there. You just way out on this ledge, and somebody got to talk you back in, right? And ain't nothing wrong. Everything's happening. You're getting everything, all your needs being met. It's just you. I think sometimes my mind playing tricks on me. Sometimes our mind playing tricks on us. And so I think we just have to be sober and be open and honest about what we're going through. Okay, what we're experiencing. Because and can I say this? But that men are emotional creatures as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, we're very emotional, and we like affection, and we've just been taught how not to give it. Okay, and so sometimes, he doesn't do it because it's that male ego thing that has been instilled in him, and so I think you got to find a way to break that mold in his mind, and he's got to find a way to allow himself to submit, so that that's no longer a factor. You understand? Yeah, you can lay out even though he's a working man, he can lay out the roses. You follow? He can run the bath water. He can rub your feet. He can come in and cook. He can do that because he's a man. You understand? I don't think you should let him off the hook, but let him know that he needs to do those things so that you feel loved by him. It's because, like Wendell said, it's not just about sex. It's about him meeting your emotional needs and being affectionate when you need him to be affectionate. And sometimes, let me just say this, sometimes don't wait. You're waiting for him.
Yes.
You're waiting for him to initiate. Initiate. If you need a glass of water, you go into the icebox, right? Or you gonna send some, or you gonna wait till he come home to get the water for you? Right? No, you're thirsty. Understand? Your be met. Okay? And he doesn't read your mind or your emotions. So if you initially, hey, I need to get my needs met. So if you find out you set out the roses for him, let's switch it, okay? All right, 1 Corinthians 7 says that his body is not his, it's yours, and your body is not. So then if your needs need to be met, then that's what I believe. I just believe that you need to, you get your needs met. Meet his needs and your needs will be met. Love him and you will be loved. Okay, that's all I'm going to say.
I'm seeing the trait with all this, and I believe what it is that somebody's not communicating. Okay, that's the first and foremost thing, that somebody's not communicating. And then out of that, you said that why is it I don't feel love? My wife said something that's so powerful. She says, your perception is your reality. That's how you feel, because that's how you really feel, okay? That's your perception. It may not be right, but that's your perception. So since that's your perception, it takes on a persona that's the way it is. It may not necessarily be that way. And one of the things I found out is that we know that if we sow an apple seed, we'll get apples, right? That's the law of reciprocity. Whichever you sow, that's what you'll reap. So love, catch this, if you sow love, what do you think you'll get in return? Okay, so maybe we're not sowing the right kind of love, so we can't get the same kind of love we got more back. So and then there's another thing that really came to my mind is that you don't feel love. Does that come way back from maybe from a parent or a mom or a dad that you didn't feel love by them, and maybe they did love you, but you just didn't feel love. And so you carried that on into your marriage relationship, and now you don't feel love by them. Now everybody's been showing you love, but for some reason you haven't felt it. For whatever reason, I don't know what it is, so you need to probably find out what's going on with you as to why you don't feel love. Even though people are showing you love, but you don't feel love. So what is going on with you? Because how long have you been feeling like this? Have you been feeling this? Because I can't believe that you would marry somebody and you didn't feel love. At some point, you must have felt love somewhere. I mean, I hope it was a shotgun with it. I mean, I don't know if it was or not, but you should have felt some kind of love then. Let's go back and go back to communicating. Let's talk. Let's see why is it all of a sudden I don't feel loved by this person? Goes back to, because again, nobody can read your mind. They may love you, but they can't read your mind. So you have to talk. You have to tell them. I have to tell them exactly why is it I don't feel love. And maybe they don't feel loved by you, because maybe you're just going 2 shifts a night. Y'all going through the motions, just maybe it's just doing all the activities, but there's no real love going on because neither one of you feel love. Because if you don't feel love, and the person really loves you, trust me, they can sense that. They can sense that there's something wrong with you. And you can pretend all day long and say, no, there's nothing wrong with you. Yes, there's something wrong with you. So you need to sit down and talk. I think you have a heart-to-heart conversation with this person, and let them know your spouse, and let them know that I'm not feeling love by you. And just let them know, tell them A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Again, they said, I need to know exactly what, your language of love is. Now, when they start giving you your language of love, and you still don't feel love, now you know something's wrong with you now. Because that's what you told them. You told them that if I do this, and I'm doing this, now you still don't feel love. So we already know, now we know what the problem is, right? The problem is, I just can't be loved. You can tell you right, I just can't be loved. I don't care what you do. You can turn cars wheels. I'm not gonna feel love. Now, we need to probably get some clinical help. We're gonna need some spiritual and some clinical help, because if you tell them this is what you need to feel love, and they do that, and you still don't feel love, that's a problem. That's a problem. And I don't know if we can really help you on that one.
Okay, are we ready for the next question?
Did you have to come on that?
No, sir, I did not.
I want to hear yours.
No, sir.
I want to hear
You know what? Everybody who spoke mirrored exactly what I was thinking. Okay. We have time to begin the discussion on the next question. And the next question is, if a spouse receives money, is it a loan or a gift from the spouse? Now, let me say this because I'm thinking that maybe the money is separate in the home, the husband has his own bank accounts, and the wife maybe has her own bank account, and maybe, for example, the wife may need a bill paid, maybe her car note paid, she doesn't have enough money, so she asks the husband, can I borrow? She don't say borrow, she just says, I need my car note paid, and he pays it. So maybe 2 weeks later, when he knows she gets paid, he wants his money back. So the question is, if a spouse receives money, is it a loan or a gift from the spouse? And let's see, who want to answer this question first on the panel?
I think Michelle, you should answer that.
Seriously? Okay. All right. First of all, if the money is separate in the home, that's a problem. I think you are failing at money management, because all of the money needs to go in the same bucket. And if bills are being paid out, all the money needs to be paid out of the same bucket. I feel like when the husband wants his own money and the wife wants her own money, or maybe she's forced to have her own money because the husband wants his own money separate, or vice versa, I think there's an issue with control, always wanting to control his money. If he wants to make a decision to spend money outside of the household budget or needs, he doesn't need your permission, because it's his money, it's in his account, he can go in and out of it as he sees fit. I think you're setting yourself up for failure when it comes to finances in the home if you're going to keep your money separate. The money needs to be together, all in one pot. We need to have complete disclosure on everything that's coming in as well as everything that's going out. There has to be a source for that when you want to have your own money. You want to do your own thing, or there are some things that you want to do that maybe your spouse is not going to agree with. So if this is your own money, you're going to do your own thing and not ask your wife. For example, we have maybe some men who are still doing for mama, and mama is still pulling on the finance in the home, and there's kids, he may give mama money and not question it, but he don't have to come to you and ask. So when the children have needs, he already gave mama $200. So now he doesn't have it for the children's need in the home. So it's a real issue when you start separating money. When you come together as one in marriage, you should be one. The money should be one. Wendell, take it on. Take it on, brother. Take it on.
Okay, but what if you feel like your wife just spent too much money?
Exactly.
And so you like, if we put all this money in one bucket, she gonna see all this money in one bucket.
Exactly.
And it's just we ain't gonna have nothing left in the bucket. So one of us gotta make sure we got something in the bucket. And so, I ain't trying to go out on my own, do nothing behind her back, or have access to money. I just want to have something in the bucket. They always talk about a rainy day, having something for a rainy day. Well, if I let her.
Well, there must be communication, right?
Let me clarify, that's not our problem, y'all.
No, that's not. There must be communication. But the question says, is it a loan or a gift from the spouse? Should the wife pay that money back, or vice versa? Should the husband pay that money back?
It all depends. Like if the husband if he's putting that money in the bucket for a purpose, then hey, if, you did something and you need some extra money out the bucket, look, we need to put that, when you get paid, that money need to go back in the bucket.
If the man needed some extra money out and
Yeah,
something came up, and then he don't put it in.
So yeah, if the husband takes something out the bucket, then when he get paid, he got to put that back in the bucket too.
But I think the question is saying if it says if a spouse receives money, is it a loan or a gift from the other spouse? And I think it's saying like if I come to you and I say, baby, I need $100, just say to pay on this bill, and then when I get paid, you say, okay, well, you got paid today, where my $100? You know, I think that's the question.
So, in this case, I mean, based on what Pastor Michelle has just said, the whole thing, for the lack of a better term, is jacked up from the beginning.
Yes.
So, from the very beginning, it's just a mess. So, what we're saying is, the right way to do it is definitely to have your 50 cents and your $1.50 and make $2 in the same bucket, right? Bills are paid, and whatever is left over, there should be an agreement about what could be spent
A budget.
extra for whatever you want.
Yes.
But if that's not the case, and listen, if you can't come to that kind of rate, something wrong already. If there's a whole lot wrong, that's not a marriage. That's an arrangement. Hold on. Let me finish. So I'm saying from the beginning, okay? There's no coming together as one when your money over there and my money over here. It's wrong, okay? So if we're talking about marriage, marrying together, all together like that, okay, everything has got to come together. But let's just say it is jacked up like that, okay? And you have yours and she have yours, and you're going to pay the car note and half the rent, and you're going to pay your own car note and half the rent, and you pay the light and you pay the gas. Okay, so let's just say, because there's some people like that. I sit down with them all day. So let's just say it is that situation. The agreement is that you pay your half, I pay my half. And if I come and borrow your money, just because I'm your wife, I'm still borrowing your money, because we already established that it was separate. So if I borrow your money, I should pay it back. And if you borrow my money, you better pay it back. Because it's all, you understand what I'm saying? Because it is divided, it's an agreement.
Unlike for my husband, if I say, hey, can I have $50? He'll look at me, but I really don't work. I work maybe 3-4 days a week. Work 4 hours a day. My husband works. Normally, I could never get my hands on his money at all. But since we moved into a new home, it's like, okay, I have access to his money now. So every 2 weeks, he gets direct deposit. He get that paper slip stating how much he gets. But I go to the bank and do what I need to do with the money. Now, I give him what he gonna spend for the 2 weeks. I take my cut. And then,
You guys, we are out of time. Has this been good tonight? Okay, we will start again with this question on next Wednesday, okay? We're going to start again with this question because I know there's some more comments out there.